I am Biako. I also forgot I just had a 3D print just finished. Funny enough, I forgot when it's supposed to finish, but
Oh,
that looks good.
good, good.
Yeah, it's been... Anycubic sent people, like, the deal that I was supposed to get was supposed to come with their gray resin, and they sent everybody, like, this clear green that bought this anniversary bundle instead without, like, asking, right? And the clear green was, like, a shit batch because I kept having all these problems, and, like, people would be like, oh, well, you just don't know what you just level it. Just level your bed, which is, like, literally every person's just go-to answer, right? And it, at some point, it's kind of like they're just calling you stupid because it's not hard to level your printer, right? Like, it is a couple times, but there's only so much you can do, right? And so finally I find a Reddit thread and these people are like, you know, they're like, oh, well, it was a bad batch of resin or whatever, and so you have to change all these settings, and I finally got it working. So, but I've been trying to get it all figured out, and finally it's working. But I did like quarantine versions of Sydney and myself and printed them out at like 50 millimeters, so they're like big off Hero Forge. So it's funny, we're both wearing like masks, and I've got disinfectant spray, and she's got like her sketchbook and stuff. It's really funny, but took a while. But looks like we are live, so
Awesome.
we're just waiting on people to come in.
We could probably go on your mark, really when you're comfortable. But we are live, and we've been live now for
Cool.
I think 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 6 minutes.
Right as I walked away to leave.
Yeah, basically, I figured, why not?
You figured, why not? All right, that's fine. That's fine. Let's see who's here in the chat. If you aren't here, pop out, say hey. Oh, I know there are a couple people watching already. Here we go. We got some hey-ohs in the chat. What's up, Chewy? We are painting Santa today, so I don't think it's going to take us too long. Sophie takes a while, and then us working on all the penguins will probably take a little bit, but I don't know. I mean, if we so hold on, let me see. So this is one, and then let's say penguin, Sophie. Okay, cool. So actually, the 28th of this month, we can do a review stream on the 28th because we won't be starting we have an extra Monday, essentially. I mean, I guess we could take it off, or we could. I mean, I guess you still have to be there to push the button, Justin. But
Yeah, but I mean, I can do most of that from my phone if I absolutely need to.
okay.
But
yeah, because we do have an
this
extra.
depends.
Yeah, I mean, we got an extra one. We'll be done before the end of the month. And that's even if, I mean, we could still take one off and get the penguins done in one session. But either way, we have an opportunity. Even if I stream it, like, even if Justin has the day off, right, or whatever, we can do a little community review. Because I would like to go over people's paint jobs over the last year. I think that's pretty cool. But let's hop over here. Bump that off. All right, cool. Looks like we are. Oh, my camera was pointed in the wrong area. Here, let's. Oh, it's all kinds of wrong. Actually, I forgot I changed it. Hold on. What were the filters? Hey, there we go. Cool. All right, so we're gonna wait a little while further. We're gonna be painting up our Santas. So, I know nobody has the Santa yet, but I actually like the Father Christmas miniature that's available right now as like the 12 Days of Christmas promo. But I like this one too. Like, the Father Christmas mini is traditional in a sense of, like, if you had a mom that, like, didn't buy regular Santa or Christmas stuff and bought, like, really, like, weird rustic fancy stuff, that's like that vein of Santa. Or like an RPG Santa, right? Like, it looks like a druid or something. But this guy, obviously classic. So should be pretty easy. We got a bear, we got a big bag, and a lot of red, right? So shouldn't be too crazy. Announcements from me. So if you are on Patreon, you guys know we had not really changes. We have a lot of new stuff on the way. So I have he's all fallen apart from where I had him just kind of hanging out over here because I used blue tack. But I am going to be starting Maldrakar, the big 5-headed, not Tiamat dragon. So that'll be a long-term Patreon project that we're going to be working on. And then I'm also doing a bunch of one-on-one painting lessons that are done with partially painted miniatures, similar to the Hobby at Home kits, but they're private lessons. So I'll be doing Gormaw, Cinder, the Green Dragon, I forget what, like all the giant Reaper minis. We'll be doing a bunch of those, so keep an eye out for that. And then all the people on the Patreon will be getting additional streams with that stuff as I work on it. Like I've got 12 Gormaws to go through, 6 like all kinds of stuff. And then I may do the same thing with Baba Yaga's Hut. So I don't know how many people grabbed Baba Yaga's Hut, but I got a few. So we'll be doing something with those as well. So, but all kinds of fun stuff coming up throughout the, I guess, holiday season into next year. Either way. Yeah, Maldrakar should be cool. We'll be painting that up as a part of the $10 and above tier. Every single week or more, we'll be doing a stream with that, and it will be competition level painting. So it'll probably take me a while, right? It's a huge miniature. But since that tier doesn't really get that content, that's for the Atelier tier and above that gets like the display level box art painting. It'll be cool, right? Because that's just something that you don't really get to see that often if you are at that Patreon tier. But remember, you can always check that out, patreon.com/minipaintingstudio. And then we still do have, if you're looking to get someone to buy you some painting supplies or something like that for the holidays, remember you can do !Josh's Things with an apostrophe S in the chat. I changed up the Amazon shop to be like a holiday gift thing that people can send parents or spouses or whatever. And so you guys can follow links there. They all should be up to date with all that good stuff. So, but all that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Let's do the fun part first. So we'll start on the red suit. So I'm going to go ahead and get some of the cinnamon red. Oop, that needs to be spun. Cinnamon red and a little bit of noir black. Will get us where we need to be. And it will be great. Great. Alright, so then let's grab a little bit of the noir black here. Okay. Now then, so I'm going to do brush full of cinnamon red and brush tip full of noir black, and that'll get us a really, really dark red here. Hey Joni, how's it going? I'm hoping your broken mini issue. Well, it's funny for the painting contest, Joni. I was trying to figure out your miniature by seeing which one I thought was broken, because you told me it broke in half or whatever, it split. I was like, which one is it? But then I'm hoping your 3D print. I'm not quite sure, other than, like, unless the center of your print wasn't cured all the way, which is kind of crazy, but it's always possible. Based on what you told me, that could be an option, and so that's why I was thinking if you took alcohol, so really any rubbing alcohol in general, and you sort of got it with a Q-tip or something on the two parts that are exposed resin, that may clean off or sort of cure it out enough to where you could get some super glue on it. Now, you said you would want to coat it all and super glassy looking. Okay, so you mentioned Bondic, right? Or I don't know if you said Bondic, but if you have a UV light, literally hit both parts with a UV light and it'll cure the resin if it's still relatively raw. And then you should be able to get some super glue to actually stick to it. Because yeah, any UV light, just let it sit there for a while, and it should do the trick for you to make sure it's you know, not being weird. And then, yeah, I mean, Bondic and then sanding it, whatever. I mean, I can give you more time, right? Like, we can work on a different section of that miniature next, but... So, Wednesday. I'll make sure, hey, don't go after the sword yet. We'll figure something else out. We're talking about our Patreon paint-along thing we're doing. We're working on a big dwarf we printed out, 3D printed mini. Alright, so we've got our dark red on here, and it'll just be a game of mixing and highlighting it up all the way. Cinnamon red isn't too crazy in terms of pigment. We should be able to knock it out and get a highlight in there. I'm going to spin mine a little bit on my Lab Genius Vortex mixer. You can get that on Amazon. There are 2 different versions as well that work just fine. There's the big Lab Genius that like sits. It's like this sort of like rectangular style, and then there's the small little vortex that looks kind of like a boob or an eyeball of some type. And that one works super well as well. So depending on your price point, if you're looking for a vortex mixer, I highly recommend it. And yeah, I mean, you can spend $30 and get like a little, or even cheaper, really. You can get one of the nail polish shakers, but the problem with that is that they're not industrial machines. So they'll work only so well for only so long, and then they just will completely crap out on you. So do keep that in mind if you're wanting something to help you keep your paint really consistent, which I didn't used to have one, and then now that I have one, I use it constantly. You guys hear it all the time, or anytime I turn it on. So, all right, so I've mixed in more cinnamon red here. Now it looks like we just kind of have a darker brown, and we shall begin doing that jolly Santa coat here. Santa coat? Gosh, I feel like that's not the term here. Santa outfit, I guess? I don't know. Hope everybody had a good turkey day. My family was insisting on doing a big, dangerously so, family get-together, and then after I like protested pretty vocally, everybody bailed. So one-on-one, they were like, we're just gonna do it on our own this year. So we ended up having Thanksgiving just with my parents, which I was pleased, because obviously I don't think it's smart for anybody to get together in a group of 20. That just seems like you're pushing your luck. So hey, Mocha's Mini, thank you. Getting sick of eating leftovers. We actually finished ours yesterday. We were very efficient with it, and then we had ham. We didn't have turkey, so I made a crazy like vegetable ham bone soup as well. We ended up getting 6 vacuum seal bags out of it to freeze, so 6 meals worth. It's pretty dope. Happy Miniature Monday to you. Well, thank you. We're just painting crisp Pringles today. Holiday flavor of Pringles. You know, if I was the Pringles company, which is probably something strange like PepsiCo or Bayer, who knows? And I think, are they owned by Lay's? I wouldn't be shocked. But how do they not have a holiday flavor called Crisp Pringles, Christmas Pringles, right? Like, am I off with that idea? Well, they could be peppermint Pringles if they're the ones that have the, if they're like chocolate coated, like that'd be really dope, right? I know that they make those, the dessert Pringles. First of all, let's have a discussion about that dinner table. You're like, all right, hey, if you don't eat that piece of fried butter, you're not getting your dessert Pringles, Steven. Just think about that, right? I think that's the kind of family. Now, hey, churro flavored Pringles, if they were the actual like texture and loving nature of a fresh churro, then yeah, I'm way down. I just don't know if that's chemically possible. So, you're on a dating website, and this guy's like, they're like, my favorite. He's like, favorite movie, Die Hard. Favorite meal, steak. Favorite dessert, dessert Pringles. You're like, okay. Oh yeah, there's fried butter at the Texas State Fair. That's a thing. Even though there's fried butter at every fair, to be honest. The Texas State Fair is just kind of like, do you want to see the worst type of human critters that come out in public? And do you want to spend $8 on a bottle of water? And then you'll pretty much get there. So fried ice cream is pretty cool. They freeze dry it and then batter it. And then by the time the batter is cooked, the freeze dried portion is deliciously melted and thawed. Would it be considered being thawed? I don't know the fried term. I'm gonna add another brushful here of our Skinnamin Red as we continue highlighting up and talking about fair foods. I'll never forget growing up for a very brief stint. We lived in a very weird part of Indiana for about a year. I think it was a year or 2 years. But we went to a fair there. We went to their fall festival. It was like the biggest deal in the town. And I'll never forget like walking through and like looking at all the food, and it was like fried cow brain. And you're like, what? And there are people like super standing at that line trying to get some. I think they served them on like sub sandwiches, like hoagies of like fried cow. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what they're doing up there in Evansville, Indiana, but it's nothing smart, I'll tell you that much. Unless we have the one viewer with an internet connection watching right now that also happens to be into miniatures in Evansville, then shout out to you. But I don't think anybody there is smart enough to use the internet. Based on its personal experience. So I could be wrong, right? This is subjective, but... My mom still talks about going to a gas station and having the gas station attendant go, "Where are you from? You got foreign plates." Because it's at a different state. Like, what? Oh my god. You would think it was like the most southern Alabama style like Deliverance, but you're way up north. Like, it made no sense. Coming from Texas, right? It was just like, what? Where all these rednecks come from? Makes no sense, man. So we're just gently highlighting this up. The one nice thing about doing red highlights is that it's pretty, like, there isn't a lot of color shift as things dry. So you can really tell where to place your highlights, how well they're working. You can see that nice transition we're slowly building up. The big pumpkins. We're talking about big pumpkins? Yeah, weird. There's a non-weird part of Indiana. That's probably true. I don't know though. I remember like we went to bigger cities when we lived up there, and it felt like a breath of fresh air. A breath of fresh air. I remembered all the people like learning the weird slang that they had. And they would end sentences with like "itto," and they'd say "oh itto," and you'd be like, "what?" Like, I didn't know what it meant. And my mom finally figured it out one day because I think like her hairdresser told her or something that it's short for "it don't matter." And so people say, "oh, it don't matter," but they couldn't. That was too much work, so they would just say "oh itto," and you're like, "oh god." Churros and fried ice cream. I mean, but what about drinking a malt through a churro straw? Like, if you want to talk about torture, like, trust me, MK Ultra has nothing on what I can put you through. I can give you food ideas that will just ruin you until you can go to your nearest whatever to just buy pure sugar trash to take care of the cravings. All right, so be very careful with me talking about food ideas. I'm like a Disney Imagineer when it comes to food that's delish, okay? What if it was... Oh my god, see, I'm already we gotta stop. What if you, and I say that and I'm gonna keep going, all right? Suddenly it's food porn. I mean, we're gonna keep it TOS friendly, but what if, all right? What if it was a bed of churros squeezed so tight and tucked together like they're just all dreaming perfect dreams and sleeping the best slumber they've ever had, and they're all just tucked together like little sardines, and they're stuck together because obviously what we've done is we've put them in a baking pan, right? Like an 8-inch baking pan. We've lined the bottom, and now they're fused together like a life raft of deliciousness, saving us, right, from hunger. All right, so now we have a churro life raft, and we're gonna cook that, right? But what you gotta do, so what we would do, we take that, we put that in the oven. I don't know, probably put it in the oven for, at like, put it, let's say 375 for 10 minutes. Okay, that'd probably be fine once they've been, you know, cooked as a churro, right? Then we pull them out of the oven, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna give them a bath because they're dirty, and they're just so dirty they need to be bathed in a French toast wash. Okay, so then we're bathing them the same way that you make French toast. All right, so then now we have French toast churro, right? Got a little southernness added to our fine French cuisine, right? Now we're not going to add any foie or anything like that, and we're not going to sous vide this, okay? But we're definitely going to make we're definitely making French toast out of churros. Then what you gotta do, then you gotta add the candied bacon because we aren't uncivilized idiots, all right? So then you gotta make your candied bacon. We're talking, you know, take some allspice, take some clove, take some nutmeg, a little bit of cinnamon, brown sugar, mix it in with a little bit of either if you have liquid aminos or a little bit of soy sauce. A little bit. If you have like low sodium soy sauce, do that. But you want that umami, okay? Umami. And you want to take that, and then you want to put, you coat your bacon in that, put it in the oven, and then what you want to do is you want to take your churro French toast, put your candied bacon on top, and then don't be stupid. You're forgetting the goat cheese crumble. So then you put goat cheese crumble on top of all of that, and then don't just stop. You're almost there. Then you take your local honey and you drizzle your local honey on top of that, and then punch the nearest wall, and that's like the most delicious thing. If you want, yes, you could add vanilla bean ice cream. That's extra credit, but just punch a wall, enjoy it, you're fine. I think that's probably a good snack. I don't know. If someone offered me the position of Santa and they were like, your ears got diabetes probably, but if someone was like, hey, you want to be Santa? I'd be like, yeah, but we got to change the cookie thing. Instead, we're doing churro French toast with candied bacon, goat cheese crumble, honey sprinkle, right? Like, don't mess with me. And then I may take the job. But back to painting. That's what you're here for, right? So we're going to go ahead and keep highlighting this up. It's funny, I feel like I have these liberties because I know you don't have the miniature at home. But by the way, right, the kit is for sale. You can go buy it right now if you would like. Went up for sale right before we got started today. But since I know no one is sitting there being like, come on, dude, trying to put this next layer of red on. Now, I don't think that actually did anything. So I'm just, you know what, let's just go to straight cinnamon red. And we'll go relatively thin. Do a couple layers to get it to where it needs to be. Start in the back. I like the structure of the cloth in the back here. Guys, French toast churros, though. I mean, like, I just... it just makes so much sense, you know? It just makes so much sense. It's like a French toast waffle. Like, it's perfect. You're not ready for Xmas yet. Untamed Painter. That sounds like a pretty tame take. We're into December, so you're there, dude. Or dudette. I was just telling Justin the only reason I didn't have a Santa hat on today is because I couldn't find one in my size last night. I'm going to be rocking a Santa hat. We're going to be playing the Christmas... Well, this is sort of Christmassy jazz chill hop like we normally listen to, but we're going to get into the season. This year for Christmas, I'm asking for some acrylic sheets that I can cut to size to double all of the shelves there behind me. And then I'm asking for resin. Resin and alcohol, so I can keep on printing them miniatures. You want French toast, but you can't have bread. Why, are you a ghost? What's wrong with you? You can't have bread. What are you talking about? Is gluten a bully to you? Or are you just choosing to punish yourself to not be allowed to have French toast? Like, come on. Now, if your stomach's allergic to gluten, I get it though, because it makes you, your stomach eats itself. But if that isn't your reason, if it ain't okay, well, medical, okay. I was gonna say if it's not medical, then you got to take a break from that stringent diet. If a churro was easy enough to make, which I consider anything that doesn't come out of the machine not easy to make when it comes to a churro, because that's just the authentic nature of it. But for you guys, I would set up a streaming setup in my kitchen just to do a churro stream, churro French toast stream. We would figure it out. We have an extra computer just for potential workshop streams, so we could make it happen. Now that with the belly, it's so rotund, what we want to do is we want to do a nice curved little arch there. Top part of the belly, we're going to differentiate it from his Santa pecs. And you want to highlight up towards that little edge we just created. Just add some more shapeliness to our rotund Santa. He's eating all the French toast churros. I feel like for most people that are lactose intolerant, and I'm speaking as someone that's lactose intolerant, you're someone that brings that up most of the time, but then you also are like, you'll just be like, I'll take the hit on this one. Because we all know what happens when you decide to take the hit as somebody that's lactose intolerant. What's interesting too, though, I found, like, obviously, I really like goat cheese because you can have goat cheese, no problem, if you're lactose intolerant. But I found some stuff too, like some aged cheddars don't mess with me at all. Like, really, it's like the more processed a cheese is, the worse off I am, which is true as well for people with gluten intolerances. So, like, people with gluten intolerances can eat a lot of stuff if it's actually, like, if you went to a bakery, right, and you got actual bread that isn't super processed, you're probably going to be okay. Like, I have a friend that can eat pizza if it's literally like freshly fermented pizza dough, because the gluten structure isn't processed, so your body doesn't freak out. But obviously that doesn't make your life easier, right? You can't just like go out to eat unless you're going somewhere that's a little bit more expensive or whatever. And obviously that's a mistake that you don't want to live through. But I know that those two options are things that are kind of a little bit different for people that can't enjoy everything. Or you could just choose to eat like a caveman and just not enjoy anything, but constantly remind people you eat like a caveman. A paleo diet is very similar to being vegan, because you're so hungry all the time, you have to remind everybody. Alright, so to highlight this up further, we're actually going to use our flesh tone. And not the Not the, what is it? We have two. It's the Swarthy, I believe. Ow. Less goaty. Trader Joe's goat milk. You should just try almond milk. Soy milk, I'm not a huge fan of. Almond milk's pretty cool. Oat milk isn't bad if you're mixing it with stuff. Like if you like waterier, more watery iced coffees, oat milk's really good for that, more so than soy or almond milk because it's not as thick. So we're gonna add a little bit of that. You can tell, right? It doesn't necessarily make a pink. It just kind of makes like an off, lighter red tone. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but that's gonna be what we're using to continually highlight up. Following the curve on our gut. You can see the highlight color there. It's really nice, actually. Right up underneath the armpit there. Now, wait a minute. Am I saying this right? Hold on. Okay, that's funny. I didn't realize there are belt loops on the Santa suit. So hold on. All right, we got some belt loops we got to paint here. I didn't realize what I was saying. Okay, hold up. What's funny is seeing the belt loops built into the Santa shirt makes it seem like way more professional. Almond milk actually is the best to do the froth for like if you have a espresso machine, it froths up crazy well. Like it's so easy to work with. What's funny is Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I definitely was looking for a good deal on an espresso machine, but I'm too broke to actually afford the good, quote-unquote good deals because they're still very expensive. I unfortunately do not have $400 to drop on a Breville. But normally $700. I mean, that's a hell of a deal, right? But all the smaller models went on sale, sadly. But I know the Brevils are sick. That's what I used to have in Texas. I miss it. I miss the non-stop iced cappuccinos. Actually, Mini Maven in the chat. Speaking of the one-on-one hobby at home stuff, she's doing one of the Gourmands, which will be cool. I already had people just immediately pre-order, so she did the Gourmand, and then another one of my patrons pre-ordered the Giant Cthulhu. We're going to be doing one-on-one sessions with him as well. All right, I'm going to add more of the Fletcheton. I'm doing more to where now it looks like pink, like a very deep red coral color. And this will be, I'm assuming, our final highlight here. I'm going to do the pant leg. Yep, that's perfect for our final highlight color. Got any espresso tips? What do you mean espresso? Have a good espresso maker. That's kind of the tip. Well, really, I mean, as long as it's shooting out 15 bars of pressure, you're fine. And then I like Colombian. for espressos. I feel like it tastes good. Parks Coffee in North Texas, or well, North Dallas, Carrollton area, Louisville area. I used to live right by their roasting factory, and they had an amazing Colombian that was like the sickest for espresso. What's funny too is like my roommate Tony, he never really drank coffee. Like I was like every day coffee, right? And he didn't really like it. And then it was so funny because out of nowhere he's like, "Hey, I like espresso," because he wanted to make, I don't know what the alcoholic espresso is or whatever, like that mixed drink cocktail or whatever, but he likes it. He always like never really had coffee, and then he buys it, and then I remember he was like practicing his technique, right, to make everything. And by day 2 he had so much espresso that he was like he's like, "I really like this espresso. I haven't really had it before. I don't know where I do it." Like he was so just absolutely blown out on caffeine. It was hilarious. He was like, "I don't know why I haven't had espresso this before." And then after about a month of that, he chilled out. But that's what's funny. He's like, "Yeah, I've had about 5 today practicing." I'm like, "Oh, you're gonna die. Be careful. If you're not used to that much caffeine, you'll be like, why are my eyes twitching? Am I having a heart attack?" Look at these nice blends. This is a really nice red highlight, to be honest. Fry and Futurama, I forgot about that episode. Top of the shoulder. Top of the shoulder to you, Andre. I don't think Andre's here. I haven't seen him in the chat. Shouts out to Andre. We miss you, bro. We miss you so much. All right. Oh, you're one of those people, huh, Johnny? You just like straight up coffee. What's weird is I don't necessarily like black coffee. Well, I mean, I guess I do, but not the same blends that I enjoy as iced coffee, because I like super dark, like dirt for iced coffee. But then like black coffee, I prefer like lighter blends. But I'm also someone, when it comes to wine, I like the darkest, dingiest reds possible, so that probably explains why I like the iced coffee the way that I like it. Yeah, look at that. That just looks sick, man. Santa got that drip, dude. He drippy. Alright, let's do the hat. I don't even know what that is. HM Road Dog. That sounds awful. Sorry to hear that. I like barely drink at all nowadays. Like barely. A couple times a year maybe. But when I was younger, I went, well, younger, like less than 10 years ago, I had a wine phase. I got really into wine. But that's really the only alcohol I enjoy is wine and gin. That's pretty much it. It also used to include 1800 tequila, but after playing 1800 tequila beer pong one evening in college, that was the end of that relationship. So, man, really rough. Rough times. All right, I think we're pretty much there on the Santa suit in terms of the red. That looks really nice. It looks cushy and soft. Cushy and soft. It doesn't look pink, right? I feel like, so a lot of people always confuse red. So, show of hands in the class, everyone. If you're going to highlight red, right, how many of you would add, like, orange? If you're going to highlight red, how many of you would add, like, yellow? If you're going to highlight red, how many would add white to your paint, right? Well, the problem is you add white and you add yellow, you end up going, like, weird pastel. If you add orange, you're headed to an orange, right? Like, you're not going to be... You highlight red with purple or blue, that's not even a real answer, period. But, yeah... Always try to use some type of skin tone instead, because you're still introducing red pigment with more white. Usually that crushed pigment will be a lighter tone, will have orange mixed in as well, right? Like, it's a little bit less harsh, and it won't shift you away from red as fast, because you're dealing with multiple pigments, right? If you're dealing with just an orange, let's say, you're dealing with white plus orange, or white, yellow, and orange pigment mixed in. And so you're just going to go, like, dreamsicle for, you know, colors. So, but red is your never. Yeah, skin tones are used all the time for highlighting. So I have like so many examples of things that we've used the skin tone for. So sitting right here, now this isn't done and it never will be finished. But so this really cool highlight in the green you see here is done with a skin tone, and then you just glaze green on top of it, right? And you can get like, so it was all done purple, blue, and magenta, and then you highlight the skin tone on top, and then you glaze orange, and you get an amazing shift to orange, right? Or sorry, orange? What? Green. Phthalo green. Sorry. But, you know, it's interesting. It's just a tip that always works out really well. What's another good example? So... oh, I have multiple examples here. Hold up. What else do I have? Let me see. I'm trying to think what other projects we've done recently that involve... Now, I don't... Oop. I'm dropping things. Let me see what's back here. Come on now. Let's see. Oh, let me grab one of these guys. Let me grab this dude. Let me grab... well, this doesn't actually count. Okay. I like how I have all these qualifying things in my head. So, like, this guy's suit. So the suit jacket that you see right here was actually highlighted up with a very light blue. But it was more of like a skin tone blue, if that makes sense. It was very pallid, almost pinkish, and then you just glaze on top of that. All of these reds. So these are really rich reds, and these are like tabletop quality Necrons. But so all of the red that you see was actually a skin tone on top of like a rust brown, and then you glaze it red on top, and it looks really nice. The highlights done, now these are more Necrons. The highlights done on that skin, or the whatever, the top part are like an ivory color highlighted with the skin tone. And then I think, oh, I don't have the, look at that, it came right off. I don't have the weapon there, but highlighting underneath with a contrasting color. Oh, this is a good example. So this or this. Yeet. Is this a, let me see. All right, so doing effects like this as well with a light blue and then glazing green on top will get you amazing results. So the blades that you're seeing are done with contrasting colors for the highlight. Now this one's a little bit easier because I only did that transition once, as opposed to this where you have a ton of transitions. So, but that's just what it is the opposite. Now, hold on, let me go and see what this is. Give me a second. someone's ringing the door, and I'm the only person here.
So how's everyone doing? Did everyone have a good and safe Thanksgiving, I hope? Hello, Hollow Heart. No, I'm not the streamer per se. I'm the producer, actually. The streamer is checking his doorbell.
What? I hear a voice. What's happened? What's happened?
Nothing.
Another refrigerator? No. So AT&T still hasn't buried my internet line, and so they were sending someone out today to do it. So the guy at the door was for AT&T, and he was like, he's like, I'm here for repair, and I'm like, no, I need the line buried, and he's like, oh, well, they'll be here within a week. I'm like, that's what you said a month ago, and he was like, well, they filed the wrong ticket. It's a contractor that's supposed to come out and bury it, and I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna have to call them again today and be like, hey, you sent the wrong person, dum-dums. But we're not having any service issues, but it's just kind of like, hey, you have this line, right, like running through 4 people's yards to get to my house. Like, when are you gonna come fix this? But, and then the last example I have, so this is another example of painting with an opposite color and then just highlighting your way up. So you remember, we painted up this guy as a part of Miniature Monday, and then I painted him again as a part of the Patreon, just a little bit differently. But we did the big power sword, which you can see here. Got a nice little glow effect to it. So, but either way, no, it's not Spectrum, it's AT&T. And trust me, we haven't had any bad service from them. It's just so what happened was there was a huge ice storm here, you guys remember, and I think that's why they never came and buried the line, because they're like, it was probably scheduled to happen like right then, and they were like, oh, we shouldn't go do that because it's bad, you know, or whatever. So I'm sure that's what the issue is. But all right, to the delivery to my neighbors. We figured out who that neighbor was, by the way. This lady came and screamed at me because someone delivered her Jamba Juice to our house. And there's a bit of a mix-up, but let me put it this way. Someone came, like this kid came to be like, hey, did you get our Jamba Juice? And Sydney didn't know that someone had brought Jamba Juice because she was in the shower. And so she told the kid no. And so then she comes back inside, she's taking the dog out, and she's like, some kid just asked me if something was delivered here. And I was like, oh, it was. You were in the shower. And she's like, oh, well, I just told him it wasn't. And then 4 minutes later, some old lady, like a human cigarette, came to my front door. And she was like, you're lying. The person on the phone said they delivered it to 421. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What? And I'm like, I've got it in the freezer. It's still, I've got, like, whatever. You know, I'm not trying to steal your dumb smoothie, lady. Like, you're the idiot that put my address, so I don't know what you're doing. But yeah, so we know who it is now if people are delivering food to the wrong house. It's human cigarette Karen, vintage Karen down the street. So now I'm doing the lighter skin tone as we continue our discussion on skin tones. And we're going to coat the fur lining here. The trim. The Egyptian pyramids on a pack of Camel cigarettes were inspired by my neighbor's first school she went to. That's how ancient this redneck lady was that came to my door screaming. So the delivery person told me you're lying. They delivered it to this address. If you can't tell, I love my neighbors. They're just like the dumbest examples of the human gene pool possible. But you know, as they say, if every pork chop was perfect, we wouldn't have hot dogs. So, takes all kinds. And we're just doing a pretty hey, that's good. Yeah, the old smoker lady from Futurama. That's very close. Just imagine that, but in like a really, really crappy, great value, like bathrobe, slippers, and then she had like reading glasses that were like perched on her nose. But I don't think she owns any books, so I don't really know what was going on there. You have a Santa hanging on the wall. Why do you keep your unpainted miniatures hanging? Sounds very... It's a very dark way to store your miniatures. And as you can see too, I'm not going like the entire way down. I am kind of stippling, overbrushing towards the bottom 30 to 20% of each of these sections, just because I know we're going to wash stuff down. Make sure to pay close attention to Santa's ball on the back of his hat, of course. Why? Why is my phone ringing? Come on now. Come on now. A valid number? Let's see what this is. Hello? Uh-huh. Yeah, that would have been 3 weeks ago during the ice storm. That stuff's been picked up and gone for weeks. Okay. I guess I'm just confused, like, with the flag deal, because, like, it's already running through other people's yards. So, like, they've already done that. So that's what I'm confused about. Because they have flags in my neighbor's yard, everything. I see. Right. Okay. All right, thank you. Okay. Thanks, AT&T. See, it's exactly what I was talking about. See? I'm telling you. He was like, they said that there were tree limbs. Yeah, there was a huge ice storm a month ago. So so they just decided not to do it, like ever? Whatever. I guess it's taken care of. If it's not though, I'm gonna turn into a vintage Karen. I'm gonna go buy me a. Let's see. I'm gonna go get a pack of Virginia Slims. All right. So we got that ready. So I'm gonna get antique. Sorry, antique. We don't need that color yet. I'm gonna grab intense brown. Yeah, it was AT&T, but it was the guy that actually was just at the house. I'm surprised he like called the contractor, right? So shout out to him. That's more work than Cox ever did when they were here. Oh God, you actually read the text from Final Fantasy XIV? Nomad, you're a real hero. So your miniatures can stare at you shamefully? Yes. Alright, so I'm gonna make a wash. And wash it down. Look at that. Cool. So we already have intense brown on the palette, so I'm going to take that and I'm going to go ahead and coat the bear. Our 5 nights at Santa's workshop. Bear here. If you tickle him correctly, he'll tell you your credit score. It's credit score bear. It's a very hot product this Christmas. But don't worry, it's a soft pull. It's not a hard pull. All right, we got that. We're gonna let's do green, black, and okay, we'll do a brown bag as well. So I'm gonna we'll highlight it though using our ogre skin. So I'm gonna do some more intense brown here. Let me see what yeah, no, I know some of the Final Fantasy stuff is funny though. That's for sure. Let's see. We just did we just finished actually all the story quests. So now we're just kind of like, what do we do? We don't have any of the Shadowbringer Alliance raids unlocked though, so we got to do that. That's our next like journey. And I'm kind of confused onto what we have to do because it says it's like, oh, this is like a 3 quest but then the actual quest line is like super long, so I don't know how much work we've got ahead of us, but at least it's something to work on. And then of course patch 5.4 comes out like what, 2 weeks, something like that, and then that'll bring new madness. All right. Oh, you know what? Didn't do the collar right here. Oop, why am I doing that? Okay, hold on. We got issues. Here we go. We'll just do that. All right, and then let's grab our green. Next week, there we go. It's the biggest patch they've ever done, according to whatever magazine I saw. Or whatever. So, we're going to do very similar to what we did with the red. I'm going to take some of the black. Whoop, let's go over here. Grab some of the green. We're going to make a nice dark green. Do the gloves. Or are they mittens? I don't know. He's got like all. I think they're mittens because only the dangling fingers separated on the hand there. And interestingly enough, all right. So clean out the brush there. So wait for that to dry. I am going to take our Noir Black, water it down a little bit, and hit the belt. The last trial was so bad, man. The Seed of Sacrifice or whatever. Sydney and I had one group that literally wiped like 9 times, and I just went ahead and quit. I was that guy. I was like, we're not doing it, dude. What it was like a group of people that were all from the same free company, and they were like making jokes with each other in the chat. So like they weren't even in voice chat with each other, right? But they're like, we all know each other. We're kind of a lot to handle. Like that's how they introduced themselves. So I already was like, oh god. And then like the healers were dying, and then like there were two instances where all the DPS was dead, and they could have done LB3 to bring everybody back, and they didn't. Back to back, they didn't do that. And so Sydney was like, I hate these people with all my heart. And I'm like, yeah, let's just not finish this. And then we went back with the second group, and I think we wiped like 3 times and finally got it done. But if I never have to do that trial again, we're cool. For sure, because that just was so brutal. Alright, and then now we're waiting for the sack to dry there, so we can wash that down a little bit further. Let's see. Did we find out if we're all getting barbarians? No, but Justin knows to ask. I think he asked someone, and then I think John.
We got it cleared up. I believe John went in and changed the text on the website.
Okay, cool. So yeah, it sounds like it wasn't a mistake with the kits. It was just the website. So that's good. That's best case scenario. So I'm going to go ahead and grab... Oh, you know what? We actually have a gray. So let's use our Tempest Gray here. I always forget that. Go ahead and do our Santa's facial hair. He says, oh, I'm a Santa. Oh, I'm a Santa. Barbarians and kits? No barbarians and kits. No barbarians and kits. I can't remember if we were actually painting thread as a part of next year or not. I don't remember. We are doing a similar barbarian though for the skin. I do remember that much. All right, so let's take that lighter skin tone. We'll go ahead and base coat the face coat. We're using the swarthy flesh on Sophie. All right, so now we have the face. I'm going to take the same color. I'm just going to get a little bit on the tip of the brush. And I'm going to stipple. So I'm just using the brush, the tip of it, to kind of dot the edges here of the trim and the center of the trim. So it's kind of like you're making a weird stretched out capital H. And then I'll do just the top and the edge of the bottom trim. So you can see that highlight going in there. Let's do the bottom of this too, actually. So I'm going to go ahead and dot this right above the belt buckle, right at the top. There you go. Here, we're just going to do right across the top of the cuff. And then speckle our way. Speckle and stipple our way down the edge. And the bottom side. Then right here, same idea, except we're just doing the edge. You can just overbrush it. There's a lot of texture there. Top of here. This is what you would call implied texture, right? You can obviously dry brush these sections, but they're so small that you don't really have any control. That's why I always try and avoid stuff like that. And you could always paint it like nearly white and do like a flesh wash on top, something like that, if you really don't want to highlight it back up that much. But I feel like this isn't too difficult of a process, so I believe that you can get it done. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same wash that we used on the fur trim, and I'm going to add a little bit of the cinnamon red. So now it's a nice, I'm going to add a little bit more. Pretty much 50-50 intense brown cinnamon red as a wash. Very thin, and this is the nice warm wash we're going to use for Santa's skin. Ho, 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 what do you know? Look at that. That'll look nice whenever it's dry. And then we just need a really dark, kind of blackish wash here. I'm going to use this on Santa's beardio, like so. And the moustache. I kind of use the same. I'm going to get more noir black, but we need to wash down the bag. Secure the bag. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and wash this over the presents as well. Mostly just to super shade them down so I barely have to do any highlighting with color on top. Do the same thing on, actually let's use the same wash on the bear. And now we're pretty much there. We're getting real close to the end here other than all the finishing highlights. It's beginning to look a lot like Santa. Noir black wash. Did I not say it right? Did I not say it right? Huh? Huh? Can you start over real quick? All right, Keldor. We can do that for you. Let me get some white here. So I'm going to very thinly get some of the white here. We're going to use this as a final stippling highlight on the trim. Like so. Oh, see, I never watched Simpsons. Growing up, my parents said that was a naughty show. Just stippling this highlight into the texture. Stipple just means making tiny dots. And since the way that this texture was sculpted was by, I think this is a Julie Guthrie sculpt, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Sandra Garrity. But what they did is they took a toothpick, or maybe a pin, and just went bup, 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 and just poked holes in it. So essentially we're doing the exact motion that was done to sculpt the trim. Which is why it is simple and effective. Alright, so we got that rocking and rolling. Now I'm going to go back to the gray. Actually, I'm just going to bring some gray over here by the white because we're going to need to highlight it up anyway. So I'm going to add a little bit of white to it. We're going to be doing mostly implied highlighting here, but I am going to essentially take the brush and do very straight brush strokes here, following the hair in the beard, which is sculpted very nicely. And then the whole mustache. I actually trimmed the edges of my mustache because they were super curling. Even if it was brushed into the rest of the beard. So it was getting out of control, man. Alright. Add more white. Back of the hair, I'm just going to kind of overbrush. Like so. And then I'll go back with mostly white. Shadow with the 15-month subscription. Remember, if you are subscribed with Amazon Prime, or just a regular out-of-your-pocket subscription, you can send that Bezos money over to Reaper for free by hitting the sub button. If you did it previously, just double check. It won't automatically renew it for you. That's the only trick, is Big Daddy Bezos will only give you free money if you ask, so make sure it hasn't expired, and if it has, toss it this way. That'd be cool. It helps keep all the streams streaming. My favorite Reaper show is Terrain Tuesdays with Ed. Rumor has it, he's still working on the trebuchet to this day. Justin's like, little do you know it's life-size now, and they're going to use it to throw employees to their deaths.
What?
He said, whoops. Whoops. That's the real reason why they bought the new land, was so they had trebuchet room.
I mean, let's be honest, that would be pretty cool.
Pretty cool, pretty on brand. For the people that are like, where's my Bones Kickstarter? They're like, alright, we're gonna ship it to you, and they just put it in the trebuchet and launch it. Alright, got that. We're gonna use that green to highlight up the glove, so I'm just gonna get that pretty thin so I can layer it pretty quickly. Yeah, now that, so what's going to happen if people have painfully forgotten, or if you've never experienced it before, so now that the pledge manager is going to be closing, right? Well, for one, you're going to see the same question asked a billion times in the Facebook group, but two, people that are new are going to immediately take it as closing as like, oh, that means it's shipping. So then you're going to start getting posts that are like, where is it? I closed my pledge, so where is it? Why hasn't it shipped immediately? Like, oh boy. I remember months and months and months ago, somebody backed it thinking that, like, it would be delivered like an order. That's a rough surprise, but I think the dude, like, once somebody explained it to him, he was like, oh, okay. Like, he was fine with it. He wasn't mad or anything. But that would be such a rude, like, awakening if you weren't prepared for it. If you thought it was just going to get shipped to you. I'm excited for all my dragons. I know I missed the Shadow Dragon. What's funny is I'll get the Shadow Dragon here and I'll never paint it. Or if I do get it, it won't be painted as well as the one that Ron has now. Like, that's usually how that goes, is I'll have one good paint job in me for something. And that's it, so... I hope you enjoy having that miniature, Ron, which I don't think he's ever shown the mini. He's shown the photo. Or he, like, briefly showed the miniature, like... on the face cam on Reaper Live. So I'm just adding some of the lighter skin tone here to highlight up the green. There we go. I'm also excited for the busts. It'll be nice to get different busts from Reaper. Alright, now let's highlight up the bag. So I need intense brown. And then I'm also going to get out some of our yellow. Our ogre skin. Hold on, I gotta see who's... Sophie bust. There wasn't a Sophie bust, was there? There was no Sophie bust. Unless I missed something. There's like the female elf, and then... I know there's a dude. It's like two women and a guy. That's 3 busts. Alright. Oh, there needs to be. There needs to be a Sophie bust. I feel like Bobby or Jason would be the ones to really knock out a Sophie bust. What is this photo? Sydney just sent me a picture of her in a hairnet. What? Okay, that's cool. Why hasn't that been a thing? Well, people gotta make it. Alright, so we're gonna take regular old intense brown. Highlight up the bag. Hey, here's some Christmas music. I was wondering when we get there. Alright, so I'm just tapering my brush strokes off here to kind of cross hatch them. Give it a nice, easy, lazy, woven texture. And then we're going to take a little bit of the yellow and mix it in. Actually, a lot more of the yellow. There we go. Mix it in with the intense brown. Kind of like, it turns it into a nice ochre-y color for the highlight. The 72mm Sophie. Which one's that? Oh, you mean 75? I know they have, don't they? They have a 75 Sophie, 75 Dana Murphy, and 75, or no, maybe she's 50. Or the chick with the sword, she's either 75 or 50. I've got all those here. Somewhere in my never gonna get painted stash. And I'm just using this ochre color as our final highlight here. Nice warm brown to contrast with all the other browns we've used. Look at that. It's also more saturated, so it'll look nice with whatever colors you end up using for your presents. The presents are going to be totally painter's choice. You can use whatever you want. If you're just strictly sticking to the paints you have from this kit, then obviously you can use the green, the blue, the purple, the red, the yellow. You have whatever you want. But if you want more colors, use whatever you want. You have plenty of options. All right, cool. Then I'm actually gonna just add some of the darker skin tone to this. A little bit more of that brown back, and that's what I'm gonna use to highlight up the bear. Very simple highlighting on the bear. Nothing crazy. We're gonna add OSL coming out of its eyes. The bear is evil. He keeps trying to talk about Huggies and Charmin. All right, fair flesh tone here. Highlighting up on Santa. So really what I'm looking for is the nose. And then right up under the eyes. I want the cheeks to still be pretty rosé. That works for me. Santa has glowing eyes. He's gone rogue. He's been hitting the nog too hard, man. Should we do like a purple... Do a purple bow on the little guy. How about that? Non-UL. This one? 14, let me see. 1406. Oh, that's Sophie. Yeah, that's a lot of metal. Werner clock. All right, so purple. We're gonna do this the easy way. So since we've talked about the skin tone trick, we may as well do it. So I'm just gonna highlight the bow with the skin tone. And then I'm going to go through and just start highlighting up some of the gifts here. And I'm using just the skin tone. Because I'll just glaze whatever color we're looking for on top. Very lazy way to do this. So I'm just gonna make a little glaze here. Let's see, out of the green. Let's get more green. We'll do a green gift here, just glazing it. Look at that, see? And then let's do some purple. This will be a purple. Easy peasy. Let's see, we got a blue. Let's get the blue. I don't even know what you're talking about, no, man. So, no. Like, what? Is it, like, I don't understand what you're even talking about. Alright. This one will be blue. So we got red. And then we'll just do some of the bows. And we'll do some yellow. There you go. So, similar to what we were doing everywhere else, right? The highlights are just built into the color. Oop, did I get some stuff right there? Yep. Just cover that up. Okay. And then we'll just make, we'll use this lighter gray, actually. And highlight up shoes, belt. Oh, we gotta do the metal portion on the belt. And that's it. Now then, next time we'll be doing the penguins, which are very fun. Oh, right. Glaze the purple on the bow. It glazes the purple on the bow. There we go. Let me see. Let's see. Oh, make it everywhere. That's so weird. I don't go anywhere that plays Christmas music. I guess is the thing, right? Like, I'm trying to think. The only place where I would go where I may hear something would be like Hobby Lobby, right? But we pretty much aren't leaving the house with as bad as COVID is in Oklahoma right now. They're spreading it by kissing all their cousins. It's the only way that can explain how terrible it's gotten. Is that the only metal we've got here? I believe so. So we'll just wash that. I'm gonna highlight up his skin a little bit further though. That's better. Alright, and then a dark wash on the Buccolino. Shade down around the bear a little bit further. I mean, I guess we'll do like what? Like button nose on the bear. You could probably paint the eyes black. I don't know. Let's paint them. We'll paint them red just for fun. Huh? Alright. We did it. Easy peasy, man. So what? An hour and a half. All right. I mean, I don't feel too bad about that. Pretty good for an hour and a half of painting. Thanks for hanging out with us today. It was pretty fun. I feel like we grew a lot in our relationship. You know. Next thing you're gonna be telling me about when you got bullied as a kid on the playground for having one nostril bigger than the other, and our friendship will be perfect and complete. So, as always, thanks for hanging out with us today. Hey, Jan's in the chat. Jan, I miss you. We all miss Jan so much. Hey, Jan. Hey, Jan. Jan Areno. Like I was saying at the beginning, the rest of the day, I printed two miniatures that are based off of myself in Sydney. as pandemic versions of myself and Sydney. We're both wearing masks, and like I've got gloves on, and I have like 2 cans of Lysol in the air, and then she's got like her sketchbook making a list of like people with their peepees out, the people that wear their masks with their noses out like that. So I've got those done. I got to get them prepped and everything, but they're really big, so I'm excited to see how they finally turned out. But that's pretty much it. We've got Patreon stuff on Wednesday. I'm going to be streaming again for you guys, as always. Next week, we'll be working on the Penguins. And, yeah, just keep hanging out, looking at all the other fun streams we've got going on. Now, I don't know if Justin has a streamer he wants to bless with the raid, but I'm looking to see if there's anybody in my list of homeboys. Let's see. I really like
unless you have somebody. Deckflow?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do that then.
Deckflow's cool. I'm just trying to see who. Yeah. Let's go hang out with Deckflow and see. Watch him paint a Marathi. God, I've painted that thing 3 times. I don't want to do it again. I don't envy him for having to paint that. But thanks so much for hanging out. Remember, you can go get the kit right now. They are on sale. If you want to do some holiday painting with us, go to reapermini.com and grab it. It is just hit the November releases, scroll down. It's down by the paint kit and everything like that. So, but yeah, unless you've got anything awesome, exciting, amazing, anything new, Justin?
Nothing at this point, other than streams might be tenuous next Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. Because as I was telling Josh in the beginning of the show, I'm having my wisdom teeth removed next Tuesday, so we'll see what happens in terms of if we have streams or not. I'm gonna try to get some people together so that we can cover it, but we'll see.
Sweet. All right. Well, everybody, drop a big old good luck, Musty Justy, in the chat. I hope you find $20 in your pocket. I hope you pull out a jacket from last winter for the first time this week, and that's where that money is hidden. If not, I hope there's at least a peppermint or candy cane in it. And yeah, I will catch you guys next week.
Thank you guys very much. Have a great rest of your day.